Hi everyone, welcome to Netgate Chemistry. So in the previous video we studied about the band theory of solids. So today we are going to start the topic Miller indices. First of all we are going to study the coordinate system of lattice points. Suppose this is your unit cell. I am considering this to be the origin. This is your x-axis, this is your y-axis, and this is your z-axis. So if I look at this lattice point, this is your origin, so it will be having coordinates 0, 0 and 0, because we don't have to move in any of the directions, not in x, not in y, and even not in z. So the coordinates are 0, 0 and 0. Suppose next lattice point is this. Suppose this is O, this is A point. Now I want to know about the coordinates of this lattice point. So what I have to see is how much I have to move towards x, y or z axis in order to reach point A. So here you will see in x axis you have to move this much distance OA. Suppose this unit cell is having dimensions 1. Okay, each side is 1. So along x axis it will be having coordinate 1. You don't have to move along y or z axis. You'll directly reach point A by moving distance 1 along the x axis. So the coordinates will be 1, 0 and 0. Next I am considering this point B. Now what will be the coordinates of this point? So see, to reach point B you first have to move along x axis 1 distance, and then along y axis 1 distance. Okay, along x 1 and then along y 1 distance, and not in z direction. So the coordinates will be 1, 1 and 0. Next I am considering this point C. Now what will be the coordinates of this point? So to reach point C, first you have to move along x direction in 1 unit, then in y direction 1 unit, and then in z direction 1 unit. So the coordinates will be 1, 1 and 1. So this way you can find out the coordinates of any lattice point. Suppose I am taking one more example of a unit cell. Suppose I am taking the example of BCC. Suppose in BCC we know that the lattice points on the corners of this unit cell and the lattice point at the body center will be occupied. So you know about the corners, what will be the coordinates. For center, for body center, what will be the coordinates? See, we'll have to move 1 by 2 distance along the x-axis, so 1 by 2, 1 by 2 distance along the y-axis, 1 by 2, and 1 by 2 distance along the z-axis. So the coordinates will be 1 by 2, 1 by 2 and 1 by 2. For this you have to imagine this in 3 dimension, then only you're gonna understand how we got these 3 as 1 by 2, 1 by 2 and 1 by 2. Next topic is representation of 3D unit cell into 2D. So suppose we have given a 3D unit cell, for example simple cubic unit cell. This is your simple cubic unit cell in which atoms have occupied all the corners. Now we want to represent this 3D arrangement into 2D. So what we are going to do, I'm going to take one face of it. Suppose I'm taking the back face. I'm naming it as A, B, C and D. And front is E, F, G, H. So I'm taking the ABCD face here. Like this. So now what we have to do, the atoms which are present on this face, on this ABCD face, will be having the coordinates 0. So the atoms which are present at points A, B, C and D, they will be designated as 0 coordinate. Now straight from A you have to look at which position next atom is coming, at which distance this atom is coming. If you start from A, then suppose this unit cell is having dimensions of 1 unit in each direction, that is each side is 1 unit. So moving 1 unit straight from A you get point E. So after A, at 0 coordinate one atom is present at A. After 1 unit from A, next atom E is present. So next coordinate is 1. So if we designate A point as 0, 1, then we understand that at A point, that is a 0 coordinate, one atom is present and one atom will be present straight at 1 unit distance from A. Next is point B. At point B, one atom is present and at distance of 1 unit at point F, another atom is present, so 1. Similarly for D, at 1 unit distance from D, straight distance from D, H is present, so 1. Similarly for C. So this way you can represent the 3D arrangement of simple cubic unit cell into 2-dimensional arrangement. Suppose I am taking one more example. For example, FCC. In FCC, atoms will be present at corners and also at each face center, like this. So now we want to represent it in 2 dimensions. So what we're going to do, we'll take one face. Suppose I'm taking again the back face, again A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Now at point A, one atom is present, so 0. At one distance from A, at point E also one atom is present. Similarly for B, 0, 1, for C, 0, 1, D, 0, 1. But this was same as SCC. Now atoms are also present at face centers. We now have to locate them in 2 dimensions here. So if you see, at 1/2 distance from this point, that is in the center, there is one atom present, right, in FCC. So here no atom is present, so we are not going to designate at this point 0. We can designate only 1/2, that is one atom is present at 1/2 distance from here, that is here. Okay, next at 1/2 distance here also, at 1/2 distance here also, and at 1/2 distance here also. Okay, now at center also you have to designate 0, 1. Now how we have done this? See, I'm going to name each lattice point where atoms are present. Suppose this phase center is P, this is Q, this is R, this is S, this is T, and backside U. Now I'm going to show these points here. See, for ABCD it is clear. For this point, suppose atom is present at phase center of this upper phase. So at upper phase, at distance 0 there is no atom present, but at half of its distance one atom is present. So I'm only going to designate half, not 0, because at 0 position, that is at backward phase, no atom is present. So this is your point P. Similarly, from this back phase, here no atom is present, but at half of its distance Q atom is present. So only half is written here, Q. Similarly here R, and here S. If you look at the center of this back face, one atom is present. Okay, at the center of this back face, one atom is present, which is designated as U. So this is your U. Okay, and this atom which is present, which is designated as T here, is present at distance of 1 unit from this backward atom, because this atom which is designated as U is present at the back phase, and the one which is designated as T, it is present at the front phase. So both of them have distance of 1 unit. So this is designated as 0, 1. So this is how you can represent a 3D unit cell into 2 dimensions. So we'll move on to the next topic. So the next topic is law of rational indices. Suppose we have 3 axes like this, and we have a very small plane present here. This is the smallest plane which we can make, suppose. So if this is your x-axis, this is your y, and this is your z-axis. So it will be having intercepts along x, y, and z-axis. Okay. Suppose these are the smallest intercepts that are possible. Suppose this intercept is, this one intercept is A along x-axis, along y it is B, and along z it is C. Okay, so what this law of rational indices says, that suppose this is your plane, smallest plane possible along these 3 directions, then any other plane which we are going to make in these 3 directions are going to be integral multiples, are going to be having integral multiple of the intercepts. We can write the definition like this. Suppose, okay, I'm going to name this plane as ABC, this small plane as ABC. Suppose if ABC is smallest plane possible in 3 dimension, then any other plane after this will be having intercepts which will be integral multiple of the intercepts. Now what does the statement mean? Suppose along x-axis we have intercept of A, along y-axis, okay, along x-axis we have intercept A, along y-axis we have intercept B, and along z-axis we have intercept C. So now we have taken another plane. Suppose this is your plane PQR, then PQR will be having again the intercept. Suppose it will having the intercepts p, small q, and small r. These are the intercepts along x, y, and z axis for the plane PQR. So P will be any integral multiple of A. Q is also going to be integral multiple of B, and R is also going to be an integral multiple of C. These integers can be any, M, N, O, any integers. So this is the statement of your law of rational indices. So any intercept which we are going to find in any of the subsequent planes, that is going to be an integral multiple of the intercepts of this smallest plane which is present here. Okay, so this is all about your law of rational indices. But the limitation here is that this law deals only with the intercepts. So if we are getting a plane which is, this is the smallest plane, and if we are getting a plane which is like this, okay, which is like this, then we'll be having a problem, because along one of the three axes it is going to have, suppose this is x, y, and this is z, along y axis it is going to have an intercept of infinity. So in this case the intercept method fails here. So in that case we cannot use intercept or Weiss indices, we are going to use Miller indices. Okay, so this part we are going to study elaborately. Okay, so this is all about your law of rational indices and the limitation of it. So till now whatever we have studied, we can conclude that if we are having a plane, then to represent that plane we can have three methods of representation. One is your intercept, other is your Weiss indices, and next is your Miller indices. Okay, we are going to study each of them elaborately, but you should know by this time that if we want to represent a plane, we can represent it in three ways, that is intercept, Weiss indices, and Miller indices. So now we are going to understand what are the interrelations between these three. See, intercepts are represented with respect to A, B, and C. For example, there is a plane, for that we have given intercepts 3A, 2B, 4 by 3C, like that. So always intercepts are given with respect to A, B, and C. Weiss indices are nothing but type of intercepts where we ignore A, B, and C. So for this intercept of any plane, we'll be having Weiss indices as 3, 2, and 4 by 3. We just have to ignore A, B, and C. So intercepts and Weiss indices are almost as same. Now coming to Miller indices. Miller indices are reciprocal of Weiss indices. If you know the Weiss indices, you can find out Miller indices and vice versa. So suppose I have a plane having Weiss indices 1, infinity, infinity. Why I have taken the example of infinity? Because that is the case where Weiss indices is going to fail. So if we are having Weiss indices, how we can find out Miller indices? What you have to do is simply take the reciprocal of it. So to find out Miller indices, just take 1 upon these values, 1 upon 1, 1 upon infinity, and 1 upon infinity. What you're going to get is 1, 0, 0. Okay, you don't have to include comma in Miller indices if values are single. So 1, 0, 0 is going to be the Miller indices for this corresponding Weiss indices. Okay, so this way you can change Miller indices into Weiss indices and Weiss indices into Miller indices. Okay, so we need more time to understand Weiss indices and Miller indices elaborately. So I think I'm going to stop this video right now. In the next video, we are going to study elaborately about the Miller indices and Weiss indices and why Miller indices are used if Weiss indices or intercepts are already present. And we'll do some questions also so that we are clear with this concept. So I think that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching.